Alrighty, you guys, thank you so much for calling into our weekly team call. I know that some other people will probably be joining on in a minute or two, and if you've got an accountability partner or a downline member, a crossline member, someone that you want them to get on here, please just tag them, send them a quick message, and just remind them that real time is better than podcast time or recorded time, and they can get our energy. And we just would love to see your guys' faces tonight. So first and foremost, because it is such a big deal, I can't even start this call without congratulating Michelle Bina. So you guys, if you can just fill the chat with some love, applaud her. She just went executive like an hour ago. And this girl works her tail off. I mean, she's a mama, as you can see. She's a physician's assistant. She is a wife. She's a caretaker. She's a runner. And I just think, like, this girl is so freaking busy. And if anybody can do it, like, she can do it. And she's just like on the heels of 2-star racing this week. And I just am so proud of her. So tonight, you guys, on the agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about personal development and personal growth. Both Jessica and I have a different take on this, and how important it is to work on yourself before you really go to work on your business, and how important it is to work on yourself before you can lead others. And I'm going to, give you a couple golden things I think that have really helped me, or things I've learned along the way. Jess is going to give you hers, and then we're going to switch it back. I'm going to talk to you guys about utilizing a shake week or a promotional week, and how you rank advance as a team, and that you guys can get off this call and stay up for another 3 or 4 hours, because Mocha's out. We've got free membership, and some people are qualifying for Maui still at the end of this week, or whatever it may be, that we just want you guys in massive action. And so I want to, first of all, start this call talking about this idea of having to go to work on yourself before you can work on your business, right? Or like going to work on yourself before other people are going to follow you. And what I can tell you is this brown box that comes, with your blender and greens and Wathans and everything else, should have like the biggest disclaimer on the side that like you will no longer be the person that you were when you start Isogenics, that you're going to be a completely different person, not only physically, but emotionally, spiritually. And that Eric Coover always says, like, you become a better person when you're in Isogenics. Like, it brings out the best in you. But one of the things that a lot of people don't know about network marketing until they're involved in it is that it is a business model that has a personal growth program attached to a compensation plan. I mean, you literally get paid to become a better version of yourself. And part of that's the people you surround yourself with, being surrounded by lights to the world, people that are bright and positive and ambitious and driven and motivated. Part of it's the seminars and the personal development from the people we get to hear from, like Tony Robbins or Brandon Bouchard. And part of it is the books that you start reading, the podcasts you start listening to. And it just becomes inundated in you. I mean, it's literally almost impossible to be complacent and not be the person that you were. And so I think that 4.5 years ago, I was not only broke, but I was totally broken inside. I tended to have a victim mindset, like a poor me, everything happens to me, like this always happens to me. I really wouldn't take any ownership or responsibility of the crap that was happening in my life. I always wanted to point the finger at everybody else. I was too busy, whatever that may have been, all the excuses in the world. And when conflict would come up, I mean, inevitably you see things from your point of view. Like, it was almost impossible for me to put myself in someone's shoes, to have empathy, to be able to, see where someone was coming from, or understand that we all handle things differently. And understanding the color code, which is an amazing personality test. If anyone in the chat wants to like type these links out, I'd appreciate it. The Enneagram, which is a personality test that has absolutely changed all of my relationships, including my, business partners. Many books, you guys, understanding the laws of leadership, understanding Go Giver, that this is about giving to others before it comes back to you, like really altruistically caring about other people. But the focus that I really wanted to share with you tonight, and I know Jess is going to bring her own genius with this, is a book that was pivotal in my build in the very beginning, and it has been pivotal in my life ever since. And it's called The 4 Agreements. And actually on the START website, when you go and you see like the books that Peter recommends or Emily Baber recommends, there's a picture of me like holding it up, because Eric had asked me to make a statement about it, because it was such a game changer. And if you guys have not read it, the author is Don Ruiz, R-U-I-Z. And the 4 agreements, I talked about this on our inspirational call this morning, but I really want to talk to you about the importance of it with our business. I'm going to tell you what they are. I'm going to elaborate on them, and then I'm going to try to show you how this shows up in Isogenics. So the 4 agreements, for anyone taking notes, is be impeccable with your word is number 1. Don't take anything personally is number 2. Number 3 is don't make assumptions. And number 4 is always do your best. So be impeccable with your word. That means speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Okay, so let's focus on this for a second, right? I mean, number 1, if you have nothing nice to say, like, don't say it at all. We're all guilty of falling into judgment. We're all guilty of falling into, worthless cancer or chatter to get something off our chest. But how is that benefiting you? How is that benefiting your business? How is that helping anybody else? And to be totally honest, it really devalues you. Nobody looks better by bringing others down. And I know in the moment when you're like, did you see what she just posted? Or I can't believe she wore that. It really doesn't make you better. When there's people that you are inspired by, people that motivate you, people that you want to be more, those are the ones that are lifting others up. Those are the ones that are raising others up, seeing all of their strengths, seeing their benefits, not seeing their weaknesses, and definitely not highlighting it in a way that's going to somehow edify you. When you're thinking about being impeccable with your word, remember that part of this too is what you're saying to yourself. Use the power of the word in the direction of truth and love. Sometimes the worst things that are said out of our own mouths are the things that are said to ourselves. And being able to just say, like, I wouldn't say that to my best friend. I'm not sure I would say that to my worst enemy. Why am I saying that to myself? And we've got to pump ourselves up every single day if we're going to go out and pump up the world. I truly believe that every single day when you leave your home, every single day when you show up in front of your computer, every single day when you walk in somewhere, you're either a magnet or a shield. I don't believe you can be both at the same time. And so the thoughts that are happening in your head, the things that you're thinking about other people, about yourself, what you're saying about other people, what you're saying about yourself, immediately is going to affect not only who's showing up in your business, but if they trust you, if you have the ability to influence them. And Janny, who I'm not sure is on this call, I saw her post it in her group. I mean, one of the things that I can say wholeheartedly about Janny, and I know Jessica will agree with this, is she is the epitome of this. If Janny says something, I mean, it's like it might as well have been in the Bible. Like, it's factual, but she doesn't talk bad about people. There's no point. She has risen and been this silent millionaire mentor by putting the spotlight on so many other people and shining and highlighting all of their strengths and glorifying them, not belittling people. That doesn't do anything for you. So just think about that. Speak with integrity, just have the truth. David Wood will talk about how many thousands of lies we all say, and how hard it is to always say 100% of the truth, that something is diminished, something is exaggerated, and just show up. Like, just challenge yourself. How honest can I be with my word? How impeccable with my word can I be? Number 2, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. You guys, this is so important in this business. Like, literally, with one of my best friends in the company, something happened last night, and I was reading this because I was getting ready for my inspirational call that was in the morning. I'm like, shake it off, right? And that's all I'm saying. I'm like, shake it off. Like, why are you even thinking about this? Like, don't take that personally. That has nothing to do with you. Like, it was so obvious to me, not being the one that it happened to see that this guy was a total jerk. This guy has his own issues, and his defensiveness and his insecurities was going to be the projection on her. But when you're in it, it's hard to remind yourself of that. We all feel like we get judged sometimes. We all feel like when someone says not now, that's a rejection. And it's not. And you guys, I've been using this analogy for 4.5 years with Isogenics, and I'm going to keep using it. But my sister is my favorite person in the entire world. She lives in Mexico, but if she flew home tomorrow and was like, hey, I'm in Denver, we should go to lunch. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, let's go, right? And if she's like, we're going to go to Bombay Grill. I hate Indian food, you guys. I've hated it my whole life. I'm going to be like, I don't want to go. Like, can we go to coffee instead? Or I'm going to bring a shake and I'm going to join her, right? But the fact that I don't want to eat at a place that Rachel's super excited about, has nothing to do with me loving my sister, with me wanting to spend time with her. But we get that noise in our head, that chatter in our head so fast. Someone says that they don't want to do isogenics, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm annoying them, I'm selling them, they think I'm bothering them, like they hate me, they want to sign up with Tandy Kirkpatrick instead. I mean, it's like it goes bananas in our head so fast, and it doesn't have to be, right? So just being able to say, like, that's not me. And you know what? I listened to a podcast once from Craig Pascal, who is an amazing pastor at Life Church. And he talked about how if he showed up every single day or every single Sunday to give his sermon, right, thinking everybody was going to love him, everybody was going to love the message, he would never be able to effectively preach because he lost sight of his passion and his purpose, right, of sharing God's word, because he got focused on popularity. And I'm not making this faith-based, but that is the same for us. Sometimes we get so focused on the popularity, we get so focused on wanting to be liked or wanting to be accepted, we're losing the purpose, right? Which is Jim and Kathy came out of retirement to create this company. And we are their messengers in order to be the largest health and wellness company. That it's not about everybody liking us, but it's about us standing 10 feet tall and bulletproof and being so excited about what we're doing. Like, I remember in the beginning, Jessica would tell people, this is the best thing since sliced bread. And I really was like, what? I was like, sliced bread is like a hot commodity. I don't really eat bread, right? But it was like so catchy and so fun. And I was like, people were joining her, right? People were excited. But if they didn't, she didn't care. She knew Isogenics was the best thing since sliced Wonder Bread. She knew what it was doing for her and her family, that there was a disconnect. And sometimes we just have to remind ourselves, I remember Robert and Sherman talking about this, and then Eric Coover, that as a leader, on the front of your shirt, it says leader. That's what we're aspiring to be, right? To be influential, to be able to impact people, to have a legacy. But what sometimes we're not told is on the back of that, it says target, that people are going to talk about you, that people are going to judge you. I pride myself on trying to recognize this team and doing the best I can to pay attention to who's enrolling and who's rank advancing. And I've had people go to other people and say, man, I did this and I did that this week, and Lauren didn't say anything about it. And it's so sad to me, right? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, like it makes me sad because I want to edify them, but I have to remember not to take that personally, right? That person, because they are not feeling seen and heard at the moment, isn't a representation of me as a leader, right? I just have to understand like what they need to be fulfilled, right? It wasn't an intentional thing. So I'm just trying to show examples of where this shows up. So number 3, you guys, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. You guys, I will tell you of any of them, this is the one that on a day-to-day basis has really, really impacted my life. Just to say, hey, I saw this. Is that what you meant? 93% of all communication is nonverbal. So when we're texting, we're Facebook messaging, we've got a 93% chance of misinterpretation. And in a second, you can read something and feel something. And if you assume it and you get on the defense and you react instead of respond, right? If you react because you're guarded up instead of just slowing down to ask a question, you're going to get yourself in trouble. I mean, we all know that to assume is to make an ass out of you and me. And I can share this vulnerably right now because it's the only time it's ever happened with us. And she's one of my best friends in the entire company, in the entire world, and in life outside of Isogenics. And we've been building together since day one. But about a year ago, I think from right now, maybe 9 months ago, I don't know, Laura and I got in a tiff once. Laura, who's on this call. And really, if you go back to where the whole thing was, we were so stressed out and we were super multitasking and trying to respond to each other and plan a trip at the same time that life was just happening. And it was like a 0 to 60 thing. But it was like as soon as we got on the phone and talked, and she was like, oh my gosh, and she had assumed I had done XYZ and vice versa. And it was like one of those times, it's like, slow down, Lauren. That whole thing could have been avoided, right? Just slow down if you don't assume. And my sister is one of the best people that has held me accountable to this. And I'm not even talking about in Isogenics, you guys. I'm just talking about in life, to just say, ask the questions. Like, I've sent her a screenshot because she's my sister and be like, I don't know what to do with this. And she'll just go, well, did you ask them what they meant by it? And I know it's a little awkward. Sometimes it can be vulnerable, but it's really true. And sometimes that can be to clarify something. And sometimes it can be to speak up on what you want. You guys, I know it's so hard for us to just say hey, this would really help me. Or, hey, like, I want you to know that, like, this means a lot to me, or this is something I want you to do for me. We just assume people know. I mean, think about, especially in our personal relationships, like, especially women to men, right? Or like your romantic relationships, they're like, you assume that they should just know that. But then you actually tell them and they're like, oh, right? And as soon as you tell them and they start doing it, you're like, why didn't I just tell you that, like, forever ago? So just really think about it in your business. Like, don't make assumptions on why people didn't get on a call. Don't make assumptions on why they didn't call you back. Don't make assumptions on why their credit card declined. Don't make it, whatever it may be, it's just going to get you in so much trouble because we really don't know. We don't know if someone thinks Isagenix is too expensive. We don't know if their credit card got stolen. We don't know if their husband, told them not to do it. We don't know if they decided to, get Slimgenics on the way home. Like, we just don't know. And just to be able to have the conversation and let go of assuming that you think what it is. And it's funny, when you realize how often people do this, I know a lot of us don't get voice messages anymore because we all text and we all Marco Polo and whatever else. But if you actually call people, I know it seems like a foreign concept, but if you actually leave a voice message, what cracks me up is by fault, we are telling people what they're doing. Or if you remember the last voice message you got, people are like, hey, I know you're probably XYZ right now. And I always laugh because I'm like, why do you think I'm doing that right now? Right? But it's the epitome of just how often we're assuming that we know things about people that we really don't. And the last one is to always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Right? Like, you guys, none of us are perfect. None of us. And we have to just do our best. And sometimes our best is better than others. I'm a very competitive person. Strength Finders, one of my top 5 is competitive. And that doesn't mean that I show up being, oh my gosh, I want to beat Michelle or I want to beat Gita. My competitiveness goes, well, shoot, if Jessica can squat that, why couldn't I be able to squat that? My competitiveness is like, wow, if she can enroll 10 people this month, I'm going to enroll 10 people this month. Erica has us all fired up right now on the way that she's recruiting and enrolling people. And so that always doing your best also means giving your grace. Don't put in 50% and tell yourself that that was your best when you knew it was 50%. But if your best sometimes is a day you're a little tired, or there's more family stuff happening, or you're a little bit emotional, or whatever it may be, that's the best that you could do at that time. There's a saying that goes around in Isagenix, and I want to give the original kudos to David Wood, but I'm not positive where it comes from. But how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I align that with this agreement. I can picture my dad as a little kid always telling me things like that, and was like, a job not well done is not worth doing at all type of thing. And I would like rush and clean my room, right? Like I would have like what I have to dust, and I would like dust around everything, and he would come in and like move everything off the top where you could see where I didn't really dust, and I'd have to do it all over again. And he was like, is this your best work? Because now you're having to do it twice. I mean, he would do that with like my homework. I would rush to get things done. And if I had spelling mistakes or my handwriting wasn't good, he had me do it over. And at the time, you can imagine how frustrated I was. But I look back and I think, like, I'm so glad that he instilled that work ethic in me. Like, I'm so glad that he showed me what my best really is. And you in this industry, you guys, you are your brand. You absolutely are your own brand. And do you want to be known as someone who's sloppy? Like, do you want to be known as someone who cuts corners? Do you want to be known as someone who rushes through things? Or would you rather be known as someone who pays attention to detail, who listens to people, who gets the job done, who follows up? And sometimes your best might be one enrollment in a month. You may have talked to 50 people and it might be one enrollment. Some months you might have 15 enrollments, right? Talk to only 15 people. I mean, it's gonna change. This whole thing ebbs and flows, but absolutely just ask yourself, is this my best? You wanna lay down at night, put your head against the pillow, say, was that the best that I could possibly do? And I'm gonna leave you with one other thought as I toss this over to Jessica, because she's got her own so many drops of golden nuggets on how important personal growth is with your business. But when we go back to the idea that we are entrepreneurs and we're not employees, we cannot hire and we cannot fire. And we are all going to have ebbs and flows. We're going to have sick days. We're going to have drama moments. But you got to remind yourself that you're in the people business. You're in the service business. We are in the business of building relationships. that you've got to be able to check your stuff at the door and show up. And sometimes I think we get so distracted, and I don't mean major life events, you guys. I just mean drama. I mean things that derail us, that they impact who you are, and they impact who you are in this business. And when I was practicing, and I would see 50 patients in a day sometimes at that doctor's office, you guys, and for an hour, it was insane. And I was at the end of a rocky relationship, and I would cry in the car on my way to work, was so frustrated. The last thing I wanted to do was talk to people, but I didn't have a choice, right? That was my job, and I couldn't pay my bills if I didn't show up. And so I would put my pants on, I'd wipe my tears, and I would walk in there and I'd smile all day long and I'd pour into people. And number one, I held myself accountable. But number two, I usually left feeling better, because instead of wallowing in my own stuff for the next 8 hours and crying or whatever, I was purposeful and I was able to impact other people. And I carry that true to my Isagenix business today. Last Tuesday was a hard day for me. It's not something I need to go into details for. It was a hard day. It was one of those days I had 4 onboarding meetings, 4 people that were like, Lauren, teach me how to do the business. And I didn't have an option to stay home and cry all day. I had an option to say, wow, I've painted a vision for you and I have an obligation to show you what to do. And where we all have a, oh my gosh, hold on, it'll come back to me. One of us has a core shame message. We all have either I'm not worthy enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, right? And mine is I'm not good enough. I put an obscene amount of pressure on myself all the time. And so I'm sharing all this with you because it comes back to the 4 agreements, right? I could have easily left those appointments and beat myself up, which now I'm back to being impeccable with my word and what I'm saying to myself, that I, rushed it, or I didn't do this and I could have done that better and I forgot to tell them about this. Or you go back to like, that was the best you could do. And you showed up and you poured love into them. Hopefully you inspired them. And the next time you meet, you can do a better job. So just, sometimes I've had this saved on the back of my phone. I've had sticky notes on my mirror. I've had stuff in my office. But these 4 agreements, if you allow them to work the magic in your life, they're going to change your business. They're going to change your relationship. So Jess, I'm going to turn it over to you and shush up for a little bit.
I love, Lauren, how vulnerable and real and raw you get. And I don't know about you guys, but it's refreshing to me to know that someone who stands so strongly like Lauren, just like all of us, has struggles. And so I think that when we get raw and real with each other, we can all appreciate that this journey is the same for every one of us. We all have days that aren't great. Right? We've all had a call that's terrible, a message that rocks us to the core, a bad event that turns into a bad day. And so here's what I will tell you is the difference. And if you know me at all, if you've ever heard me train, I like to go back to basics. What works, works. Okay. So I wish I could tell you that there's this magic sparkles glitter that you can buy and sprinkle on your head every night and take a baptism and you'll be such a different person. But here's the simple truth. When I'm in the flow, here's what I'm doing. I start every day, and you can start, it's how you start the day. What Lauren said, she credited David Wood, how you do anything is how you do everything. I think applies to how you start your mornings. If I start my morning in the right direction, my whole day seems to go differently. Do you guys agree with that? The morning, how you set the tone in the morning is going to dictate the tone of your day. So when I wake up, I like what Chris Harder said when we were at Celebration, how he says to himself when he first opens his eyes, I'm happier, healthier, wealthier, and more fit than I was yesterday. Fired up about that. So when I'm in the flow, here's what I do. I literally am still in bed when I look at my phone, and I don't look at messages, Facebook messages, or Facebook. The first thing I do is I open an app, and I personally use an app called First 5. I mean, I make no secret that I have a faith and it's a Bible app. So let's just be clear. That's what I do. And you might have something else, because there's awesome apps that are like motivational quotes or things that set your mind in the right place. First 5 is the app that I use. It's the first thing I do before I even get out of bed. If I'm in the flow, it's about 4:15 a.m. when that's happening. I get up, I get dressed, and I go work out because that's how the best days start for me. When I get home, my kids are already getting ready. And so what I do is I'm still standing on my counter. There's a pen right there waiting for me, and I grab the closest scrap. It usually looks a little bit like this one. And so this is what I did on this morning. And I start down and I start writing things like this. Today, I allow myself to attract people who are, and I write it down. If you've known me before today, you've probably heard me say that before. I also write down really huge objectives, right? I write down things that I expect to happen. I write down things like people of massive influence and burning desire are flooding into my business. I can handle it, but just barely. I literally envision so many people, back-to-back calls, abundance, wealth, seeing their success. I write down expectations for other people I'm working with closely. And I've been reading this book, and I was talking to Janny about it earlier, but I've been reading this book about having bold, incredible, almost unbelievable expectations for what is to come. And just putting faith that the things will align and the people will show up to make them happen. And when you have that expectation, I so believe everything in the world conspires to make it so. And so that's what I've really been doing. And that's how I get in the flow. Now, if you know me locally, you know I drive a Honda Odyssey minivan. I call it the University of Honda because what I have is Apple CarPlay. And so I love podcasts. And so you better believe if my kids jump in my car, they're going to hear some version, some point in a podcast. The University of Honda has classes that start the second my ignition ignites. So what happens is you're going to hear, like, I personally love Elevation Church. Again, it's Christian, but if I've ever sent you a podcast, what he's talking about, Stephen Furtick, is life stuff. I love TD Jakes. Nobody can fire me up. Like when Stephen Furtick gets going, even if you're not a believer, what he's saying will make you up level as a human. I love him. I know, Lauren, you're a fan too. Greg Rochelle, we both like. I love, there's law of attraction. My assistant turned me on to, it's a really short one. Let me just tell you what it's called, just so we can be on the same page. But it is, oh man, there's such good ones, guys. Okay, the quote of the day show. Quote of the day show you can listen to in like minutes. And they always have something great on, and it'll tell you, go to YouTube, this YouTube video for more. But the quote of the day show is just great. I love it. They have Money Fridays. It's just great stuff. So I love listening to podcasts. They fire me up. And I just think it's when people are down, I just say, like, go to YouTube. If I'm here, I'm sitting on my computer and I'm going to YouTube and I'm typing in Stephen Furtick. And I'm telling you, the universe just pops up, the one that I need. He's good. So you need to constantly refill your tank with people that are speaking greatness inside of you. One of the biggest changes that I made is I fiercely protect who gets mind space and who gets time. Fiercely protect. It's so important, guys, because the people that are speaking into you are going to be speaking out of you. And that's what happens. You have to be very careful about who is in your head. So fill your time with quote of the day, with people, that inspire you, with David Wood, University of Honda, right? And people say, I don't have time to listen to podcasts. Well, you have time because you're on many of you work out. If you're on a treadmill, have earbuds in. And I promise you, Beyonce isn't going to fire you up like a David Wood is going to fire you up, okay? I mean, she can shake it down, but listen, they can fire you up. So while I'm burning calories, I'm building the muscle of my mind. And I think that's so important, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. And so many of us just literally don't realize that there's a hole in our cup. And it's just a little bit that's drizzling out. And you've got to take personal development seriously. So Lauren, I know you and I have talked about, Jenny and Kelly and a couple other people that we both respect are doing the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. It's a workbook. And I think that there we go. I think that we're going to be taking that on. But I also think that there's some baseline things that I want people to do. So I think 4 agreements is one. I think everyone, and gosh, there's some people that I work with that I think, man, I need to go back to basics, and we need to go back and we need to have them read The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. T. Harv Eker. And if you read it before, maybe you should read it again, because there are some people, and if you know Jeffrey Combs, you ever heard him talk about this, the law of the lid. Whether you like it or whether you like him or don't like him, the law of the lid is a real thing. And I keep seeing people hit their own lid. Guys, you got to get a financial thermometer and a blueprint that rewrites the script for a lot of you. I just was on a Zoom call earlier with a girl who had a phenomenal, it would make you drop to your knees what this woman's past looks like. She's the reigning Mrs. America. I met her because my assistant, who's in the pageant world, followed her on Instagram and said, you've got to connect with this girl. Her story's amazing. Guys, have boldness, because I wrote her and said, we should connect. My assistant thinks you're fabulous. She loves following you on Instagram. I'd love to chat with you. And she got right back to me, but she was sick and I never heard back from her. And then weeks later, she wrote me this past Sunday. We jumped on a call. I've had 2 Zoom calls with her. She talked to Erica. She's in Beachbody. She talked to another person. And then tonight we did a Zoom call with Travis Garza and her. This girl's story is enough to make you drop to your knees, but her money blueprint is something when he was asking her, how much money would make this worth your time? And Lauren, you should talk to her, because she said what she needed now was dining room chairs. So what I will tell you is the law of the lid is a real thing. And if you have a vision to take this to a whole other level financially, it's worth to grab that book out again if you've already read it. T. Harv Eker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. That conversation tonight made me remember that I'm going to go back and go through it again. Because here's the reality of this company. I want you to take what you think you can make in 2018. I want you to literally in your head have an idea of what you can make, what you can realistically earn. I hate when people think realistically, because what I believe is that you can 10x. If you can imagine it, if someone else has done it, if Laura Stevens or Lynn Hagedorn or Lauren or me, if we've done it, then it's possible. Then you can do it. So take what you believe is realistic and add a 0 to the end. And then I want you to tell the universe that that is what's happening. I want you to expect it, feel gratitude for it now, and truly believe it. And don't let anything hold you back. The doubt that'll creep in when you go, oh, that's crazy town. I could never. Erase it. Literally do a stop of your thoughts. So a pattern interrupt. Stop your thought. Get some blast on the University of Honda or whatever vehicle you drive and get that fired up and put your finger in the hole in the cup that's leaking out, these little drizzles that you don't even realize it. But what I'll tell you is, tell me if you recognize this, that you wake up and you start feeling really discouraged. You start looking around at other people and comparing. You start feeling like everyone you encounter is a no. You start feeling like my energy sucks. I'm not attracting anyone. I wouldn't even enroll with myself. That is the hole in your cup. And if we're not doing anything to plug the hole and to refill what's drained, and then we're allowing these negative people in our sphere that we're not fiercely protecting, you're going to have something that's really at risk. At this point, you're in a defensive position. Right? We're just trying to make sure that all the water doesn't leak out. We don't end up with an empty cup that we look at the bottom and go, oh, there was this tiny hole. What we're now trying to, though, once you get from the defensive position, you go into the offensive position, and then you start filling. And the filling, guys, is what builds leaders. Leaders are built in the filling and the refilling. You think Janny Elo doesn't send us so many podcasts? I mean, this is a woman with 315,000 people on her team. 4 people that earn 7 figures a year, 30 millionaires in her downline, and over 600 six-figure earners on her team. Do you think that almost every day I don't get a podcast or a YouTube? If I showed you our text conversation, and Lauren, I know you have the same thing, is this woman does so much personal development every single day. She jumps on other people's calls. Do you think she needs to learn a skill set from other people? The woman's a genius. Yes, because she's always learning. And she'll go, you know what I just heard Herbie Cepeda say? She'll pull out people that I'm like, you're so much higher ranked than that person, but she's pulling it from them. She's edifying people. I remember when Angelique and David were just coming up in the ranks, and she would say, I heard Angelique say, and she is such a humble person that she looks at everyone as if they're about to drop the most utter genius on her that she can't miss. She's hanging on the word of anyone. When Trudy Maples first came into this company, she was like, you know what I heard Trudy say? You know what I heard Lindsay Winnie say? This woman just looks at other people. Imagine that every person you meet has something of value you can extract, and you live like that. Somebody has something of value to say, every person, and we can learn from it. You can maybe learn you don't want to be like that, but for the most part, you could extract some value of what people are saying or doing. And so I'm excited just to share with you guys just that we're in this process every day of rebuilding the kind of leader that we want to become. And you have the power to 10x anything you think. I'm in the process of 10xing everything I've ever envisioned. And every single day, when I look at myself in the mirror, I say, you're 10xing it. You're a money magnet. People with influence and burning desire flooding into your business with ease. You fiercely protect the people in your circle. And look at other people. Have a person that fills you back up. So in the spirit, I'll close with this. In the spirit of being real and raw, last night, I had the worst call that I've ever had in Isogenics. The worst call that I got off, and I was like, wow, that was by far the worst call that we've ever had. So Eric and I were supposed to be talking to one person, and she brought 3 people from her upline, and it got the people got combative with us. Like the F word was said, not by us. But they got really combative. It was ugly, awful, terrible call. Like, what? I didn't even know what happened. And I honestly, like, this is where it's important to have somebody talk you down. Like, Erica's in my downline, but she said to me, don't let this consume you. Because I was going in that direction. It was like really eating me up that this call had gone so terribly wrong. And so have people in your corner that tell you, pull you back from the ledge. Like Lauren has pulled me back so many times. I know I've pulled you back a lot of times. And I just want to tell you guys, have people that if you can't fill the hole in the cup, that they're there and they're like, I got you. I got you. Step back. That is nothing. Move on. We're not going that direction. All right. So guys, I'm fired up about this promotion too, Lauren. Let me turn it back to you.
You guys, this is so good. I'm so glad you guys are getting this out of it. And I also want you to just realize that like we are going through absolutely everything. You're still going. And I hope Jana listens to this recording and just knows like how valuable she is to all of us. Like we're all here because of her, you know? So cheers to Janie right now for any of you who have something to toast or cheers with. But you guys, so we are in the middle of a huge promotional week. You know, some people are qualifying for Maui Top Achievers, if that's on your radar. A lot of you are just, you know, you're in your first kind of 30, 45 days of the 90-day game plan. We have free membership. We have 2 weeks left to February Frenzy. Mocha's out. I mean, number one, get the clue that corporate is pouring into us. I mean, they are giving us so many tools that like I think we're doing a disservice if we're not maximizing this. You know, if people want to just post on Facebook or put an Insta story up like Mocha and that's it, like that's not fair. You know, they're throwing out $200 cash, $500 cash, a free hotel room, you know, with February Frenzy. They are giving away free membership and all this stuff, that we need to run with that. We need to have those conversations with people. But I want to share with you something that I used to do and something that I have kind of gotten away from, and something that I'm doing right now in this week because it's fun, you guys, and it's super fun when you're running with people and everybody's ignited. And so when I was first building, Janny did such an amazing job of forward speaking into Jessica and I that we knew what was coming. And what I mean by that is we hit executive 1-star and we were celebrated for like half a minute. And then we were talking about 2-star. I mean, it was like, awesome, good job, girls. What's happening this week in the pipeline? We were like, wait, what? Like, oh my God, like we haven't slept in a month. Like we thought we had just climbed Mount Everest. And she's like, oh no, get ready. I was like, okay, right? And then we hit 2-star. It was like the same thing. Oh, 3-star, girls. I mean, it was that's how it was. But there was a culture. I mean, there was a standard that on Sunday nights or Monday mornings, Jessica and I were telling Janny who we were enrolling, who we were rank advancing, and what our cycle goals were going to be. I mean, it was like, what's in the pipeline? What's happening? What's happening with your team? Who else is going for it this week? What are their goals? What are yours? And when we were going so fast, we had a lot of people on board that were kind of doing that with us because that was the standard. This was this expectation. And I think that Jessica and I both grew so fast, and then things weren't duplicative, or in the growth of our leadership and figuring out network marketing and, everything else, we start to do I run with 2 at a time? Do I run with 100? Do I do it for everybody? Do I focus with this? Do I manage them? Am I still enrolling? I mean, there's things you learn along the way. And somewhere in this, you're trying to get everybody on board, and not everybody's motivated at the same time. But what I've realized, and I really want you guys to understand this, is when you want to rank advance, right? When you really are going for it, you have to do it as a team. My friend Tracy O'Malley talks about this as you cannot stop a moving freight train. But when you understand team volume, right? When you're understanding the numbers of this, you have got to have everybody in momentum at the same time. And that's how your consultants go managers, your managers go directors, your directors go 1-star, your 1-stars go 2-star, your directors go executive, your 2-stars go 3-stars. You've got to be going in it together and understanding the numbers, that for someone to hit the 5-cycle bonus, right? If you're going 1-star, you need 2 people to hit the 5-cycle bonus, 1 on each side, being able to kind of break down exactly what's happening. But there was a time where I think I was motivated because I had some things happening, and I was trying to get people to run with me. I'm like, oh, it's going to be this. And no one had an action plan. No one really knew what to do. They weren't really motivated by anything. So guess what wasn't happening, right? No one was rank advancing. And if you're looking at teams that are in momentum right now, teams that are in massive action, Tanya Kirkpatrick, Laura Stevens, Trudy Maples, they are running together. They're rank advancing together. And Jessica Johnston talked about, she went 6-star to 8-star in 1 year doing this. And it was doing these sprint weeks, these grow weeks, that every 30 days you're building upon each other. Every 30 days, you're further ahead of where you were. Every single one of you, I'm going to tell you that you're a recruiter because that's why you're on this call. Your business can stay complacent. It can stay exactly where it is for a long period of time because as many people are going inactive, you're bringing in. So you kind of have this revolving door of 2 people went active, I enrolled 2 people. 2 people went inactive, I enrolled 2 people. And if you want to see growth, if you want to see the compound effect, if you want to have geometric progression, right, and you want to see net cycle growth, then you have to duplicate, you have to set those goals, and you've got to get everybody moving together at the same time. And so coming out of the Influencer Summit with Eric Worre in December, and seeing this vision of having a year view on your business, what are times that you want to do a spring break cleanse? When is the Valentine's Day cleanse? When is the daylight savings promotion? When is Black Friday? Whatever that is, and kind of being able to look at the business and then planning out these sprint weeks, these every 30 days, these grow weeks, especially if it's in conjunction with something Isagenix is doing, is invaluable, you guys. But so I started to get really clear on what happened in the beginning and why this was so successful. And I grabbed a few of my top leaders, people that I know get on team calls, people I know listen to podcasts, people I know are constantly recruiting, right? Constantly helping people go consultant. And I said, I want you guys to grab 4 to 5 people, each and every one of you. And I want to get on the phone with them. And Jana used to do this, and she would cast the vision into my team. She would map out exactly what they needed to do. And she knew my business better than I did. I remember when Rachel was going to go at executive, she went from a manager to executive in about a day and a half, created 6 consultants because Jana just poured this belief and told her exactly what to do. And so I had asked some of my top leaders, grab a few of their people, let them know that they have what it takes. Let them know their business is in a mature enough space that we can do this. And mapped out exactly what that was, you guys. And we said, this week, you can go 1 star. You've got banked volume on this side, right? We need 3,000 on this side. How are we going to get there? We mapped out getting inactive people active. We mapped out who can go consultant. We mapped out how single PIVs, the cycle equivalents, count towards rank advancing. How many personally enrolled, packs or PIVs do they need for these kind of go cycles and phantom cycles to show up that you're going to rank advance? And I'm sharing this with you guys because any one of you can do this. And if you're brand new and you have a team of 3, then guess what? In 30 days, you're going to have a team of 12. And in 30 days, you're going to have a team of 50. But this geometric progression and this compound effect starts with you and at any time. And I want to leave you with this idea that, like, not only are you going first, but I borrowed Jani's belief. Jessica borrowed Jani's belief, but she told us it was possible. Borrow our belief. We're not going to set you up for something that you cannot do. It might be a stretch goal, right? It might be that 10x, might be a push. But if you don't want to be someone who gets stuck in that 2-star Bermuda Triangle, if you don't want to be someone who's stuck at this 5 to 10 cycles, then you have to see that vision and you have got to be willing to bring other people along with you. So between Saturday, Sunday, yesterday, and today, 3.5 days, I can honestly tell you I have done more like coaching calls or business mentoring calls than I ever have, probably, especially in a long time and especially in the short period of time, but over 60, where I just looked at someone's business. We did a Zoom, we did a share the screen, we ran the numbers, and they know exactly what they're doing, but I can feel energy and momentum in the team right now that I have not felt in years because there's belief, there's competition, there's excitement. I mean, Michelle went executive and it's Tuesday. Like, who goes executive on a Tuesday? I'm like waiting for this on a Saturday or Sunday. But it's this idea of, like, we're locking arms and we're doing it together. And Jessica's so good at this. I mean, you guys, your team of leaders is so good at doing this. But when Isagenix has these promotions, don't just sit on them and post in your Facebook group and tag 5 people and expect to rank advance, right? Like, if you really want to rank advance, you want to be a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, that's important to you, then these are the times we work. I mean, we truly have the opportunity to coast a lot in this business. That's what residual income is all about. But that means you have got to put in the work when it's time to work. And so last night, you guys, I was probably up to 1 o'clock in the morning, texting so many people in my team that Mocha was coming out, reminding them that 6 of any containers gets 10% off. They can mix to match, Mocha and chocolate mint or whatever. Today, you guys, I sent over 300 messages to people in my team about welcome back, about that promotion that ends on the 4th, that they've got just a couple weeks left where they can come back with no membership, no shipping. Told them about the seasonal shake, that they maintain the position in the tree, sending voice memos. I am in more ATMs now that Jessica has coined this acronym for us than I can even imagine. Like, I'll clear it out, and then an hour later I'm like, and there's 75 more, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna Mocha all day, baby, Mocha all day, whatever it is. Grab your accountability partners. Like, I'm just like listening and chiming in because people are working, but you really, really, really want to take advantage of this. And just know that posting on Insta story or tagging a few people in your cleansers or your testimonials group is not enough. It's just not enough. And if you want to be a 6-figure income earner, if you want to exceed in this business, if you want to rank advance, you have to put in the hard work. And I'm going to bring this back around to the 4 agreements. I went through some other leaders' businesses. They don't really do a whole lot. They're not going to put in the work, but there's hundreds of people in there. So I'm sending out this text, about welcome back or about Mocha or whatever. And I got a snarky text from someone that was like, if you're going to message my downline and blah, 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 blah. And I had 2 choices. Right at the moment. Number 1, deflate me and stop what I'm doing, right? Or number two, put my blinders on. I'm impeccable with my word. I'm informing them about a promotion they probably don't know about. I'm doing the best I can, right? I'm doing it with integrity. I'm going. And guess what I did? I sent 50 more messages. I don't have a time to stop for the one person that's too lazy to do it and judge what I'm doing. I'm the CEO of my business, right? So I want you guys to encourage yourself to print off your personally enrolled details. Message everybody. I mean, at the most, you're Jessica Rigner and you've got 500 personally enrolled. You guys, that's still, I mean, that's 100 people a day in 5 days. That's not that much time. Really, in a group message, or the massive text apps that they have, even if it was all individual, do 25. 4 times throughout the day, 25 in the morning, 25 at lunch, 25 in the afternoon, 25 before dinner. Break it apart. But I can confidently say, I don't think anybody in here, except for maybe Jessica, has enrolled 500 people. I'm in the 300s at probably the second highest on this call. And I've gone through all of them, plus the team. But that's this part about burning desire. And Jana used to tell us this over and over. We can give you the ropes to run with. We can give you the tracks to run on. We can give you all of the training. We can help you. We can do 3-way calls. But burning desire, you either have it or you don't. And you're either waking up with intention, with passion, so motivated to change the trajectory of your life and so motivated to serve other people that you're going to do this, or you're not, and you're going to come up with every excuse in the book. And guess what? I'm not going to feel bad about it when the whole company rank advances and you're not, because you don't want to text people. You don't want to call people. You don't want to put in the work, right? There's a lot of other jobs that are hard. This is not hard. Make it fun. There's a girl on this call that she was going to consider cleaning bathrooms at a church before Isogenics because they needed income, right? Like, which is more hard? They're both in the service industry, right? But just think about that and say, you got 7 days. Isogenics gave you 7 days, 6, with free membership and an amazing, delicious shake. If you want to double your income this week, like, the only person responsible of that is you. So the last thing is just comb your tree. Comb your tree. I mean, this is super fun. When you go to your team view and you click the plus, click the minus, you just start to see who's in there. Find people that were once paid as consultant that have fallen out. If you get them back to active consultant, they might be sitting on volume, left leg, right leg, personal volume. You get them back to consultant, they might all of a sudden cycle 20 times. I think Tracy O'Malley's mom went like 7-star. She had like fallen out of consultant, had all this volume. She got back to consultant and cycled like 200 times or something in a week. I mean, crazier things have happened. Find people that have, fallen out of consultant, remind them. Find people that were ordering that stopped. I mean, just go deep. This is the time that people that don't build this business are not paying attention, and they're close to 5-cycle bonus. They saw the seasonal shake. They got back to consultant. They went through their volume. All of a sudden, at 3 or 4 cycles, I mean, whatever it is, but just spend the time. It is worth it. I literally prepped this week with the team to put crockpot meals in the, for dinner, or just live on shakes. Do whatever you have to do. Commit to not showering. Whatever this week looks like, allow it to be messy, because the rewards are so worth it. When you put in the time now so you can chill out and enjoy, reap the benefits of your hard work afterwards. So if you guys have any questions on that more specifically, please feel free to reach out. There's actually a call that was on my YouTube channel where I use Jessica's formula of forecasting how many people you need to rank advance, and I get a little bit more specific with this. But all I will tell you is it's a numbers game. The more conversation, the more messages. There's going to be a lot of people that don't want mocha, but there's going to be someone that didn't see the Facebook group, and because you text them, they go in and order 20, So you just never know. Just go ahead and do it. So Jess, let's wrap it up with you. And I know you've got tips on how you've used Shake Weeks, and you're the best at rank advancing.
So Hit 'em Up app, guys. I think it makes life a lot easier. Use the Hit 'em Up app. Absolutely circle the wagons with your leaders. And I think what Lauren is saying is just make sure people know. Have extra on hand so you can use it for raffles, because when it sells out, people are willing to pay with their firstborn child to get their hands on some mocha. Mocha for our team. I've heard people say it wasn't popular, but they aren't on my team, because people on my team would die for it. Like, think it's amazing. So buy extra, have it on hand, and you'll be one of the most popular people there is, especially if you want to do a cool contest with your downline. So that's what I would tell you. The Hit 'em Up app is something that I use. It's not perfect, but it makes things a lot easier, especially if those people are on your phone already. And that's what I'll say. It's going to be an amazing week with that and free membership. Look out. I'm on a mission too. 1 a.m., Lauren. I'll talk to you at 12:30.
You guys, hey, real fast too, and Jessica's saying buy extra. It is good for contest, but here's the other thing, right? That when it sells out and next week people are in your pages and they go, oh, can I get that flavor? I mean, especially if they're local, you can get a 30-day and put in whatever flavors, and then I can swap out. Like, oh, I have an extra mocha at my house, order a vanilla chai for me, and then you swap with them. You know, I did this a ton over the holidays with like pumpkin or something that I knew people were gonna want. That once it sold out, when they got their 30-day, just buy whatever, and then you swap them out. Hey, get me an Isoline Strawberry Pro. I've got pumpkin at my house, and you swap with them. So it's worth having extras on hand. And the other trick of this is once you have paid your 100 BV every 29 days in your account, there's no benefit for you to order it all through your account. So go low, go deep in the tree and let it roll up, that BV is going through your whole organization. You know, get some people that have ordered every single month and, you know, they were once a consultant, run it through someone who's inactive. Just say, hey, Jamie, I'm going to run an account through you. It doesn't affect you. It's shipped and billed to me, but it helps the whole team. I just wanted to give you a heads up, you know? And then Jamie gets back to consultant. She cycles a couple times, but on the way to the BV going to me, and we're still just trying to get products to, you know, Karen or whatever. Sharon gets the BV, Eric gets the BV, you know, Peter gets the BV, Alex gets the BV. I mean, look at this, go through your team. If you have someone who was once paid as executive and they fell out of executive, look at the consultants. You already have date of birth and socials and people there, but if they're only ordering like 64 BV or something, there's a time to go run a couple containers of mocha. I know you guys have had people reach out that don't want to enroll but want mocha. I mean, run a few containers, ship them to you, and then give them to them. They just give you the 40 or 50 bucks back, you know, but get creative with this. And people always say, like, does Isagenix care that you order products and you ship it to there? Isagenix wants to celebrate rank advancements, and Isagenix wants to move product. At the end of the day, whether it goes through my account or Jessica's account or Holly's account, we're moving products, you guys. We're selling shakes and we're changing lives. That's what they care about. You know, so get creative with it. And if you need help, like reach out to someone. I mean, Jen and Adam Feitzer are brilliant at this. Laura is, Jess is, Kisa is. I'm happy to help. Like, we really, really want to see you get your team paid, because the more you get them paid, the higher retention you're going to have. So we love you guys. Thank you so much. Can't wait to celebrate all of you. Good night, Jess. Anybody who's up, staying up late, I'm happy to help you guys.
For you. Good night, honey.
Bye.